Today, we're taking a gentle stroll through the world of upcycled garden decor, made with love, patience, and a little thrift store magic. These are not just budget-friendly ideas. They are soulful inspirations. Simple, meaningful touches to help you decorate with intention, with memory, not just money. Let's turn the overlooked into the unforgettable and discover what's waiting to bloom again. Welcome, dear friend, to Golden Seniors Living, where every broken teacup, every faded frame, and every garden idea carries heart, not haste. This is a space for slow beauty, for soul-deep creativity, for second chances and small wonders. We don't create to impress. We create to express, to tell our stories, to remember what matters, to breathe joy into the spaces we live in. Here, we don't rush. We don't chase trends. We craft, gently, with love, with memory, with purpose. In today's quiet video, we're taking a gentle stroll through the world of upcycled garden decor, made not from brand new tools, but from thrifted treasures that still have so much to give. These aren't just clever ideas or cheap tricks. They're meaningful touches, created with patience, story, and heart. Together, we'll rediscover beauty in unexpected places, and you might just find that the most charming garden decorations aren't bought, they're found, rescued, and lovingly reborn. And before we begin, I just want to say, thank you. Truly. Every view, every kind word, every quiet moment you spend with me here, it waters something deeply personal. You help this little corner of the internet bloom into more than a channel. It's a community. A garden of souls who believe, like I do, that the simple things still matter. That slow joy is real. That creativity doesn't need a budget, just a bit of heart. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you are. And before we begin, may I gently invite you to stay a little longer with us. If this space feels like home, if the quiet joy of creativity speaks to your heart, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe. Not just to follow the videos, but to become part of something slower, kinder, and more thoughtful. Here, we grow together, one small project, one shared story at a time. And now, let's begin. Idea 1, Teacup Towers. A chipped teacup never lost its charm. It only learned a new purpose. You see, in this garden, nothing is ever truly broken. Not when we see it differently. Not when we give it a little patience and a touch of imagination. Picture this, a few old teacups, the kind you might find buried in a thrift store bin, their patterns faded, their rims a little rough. Once upon a time, they sat proudly on fine tables. Now, they wait, quietly, for a second chance. And today, they're getting one. We start by gathering a few of these mismatched treasures. Don't worry about matching colors or patterns. In fact, let them clash a little. Let them tell their own stories. One by one, we gently stack them along a simple rod or dowel, maybe a sturdy garden stake or even a salvaged curtain rod from your attic. As we thread them through, we angle each cup just so, like they're leaning into the sun. Like they're whispering secrets to one another. Then, a bit of soil, rich and soft. A few sprigs of thyme, maybe a little mint, maybe even sweet basil if the season's right. Let the leaves tumble gently over the rim like lace curtains on a breezy window. Water just enough. Not too much. Herbs, like people, thrive better with care than control. You don't need instructions here. You don't need perfection. Maybe your tower leans. Maybe one cup has a chip so deep it catches the light in a strange way. That's okay. That's perfect. Because this isn't just a planter. It's a quiet reminder that some things don't need fixing. They only need reimagining. And now, with the Teacup Tower standing proud in the garden, your herbs begin their new life, not in plain plastic pots, but in something that's lived and been loved before. Idea 2, Rakehead Tool Organizer. Even the rustiest rake still knows how to hold things together. Its handle may be splintered, its teeth worn down by time, but there's a certain grace in that, in knowing it once gathered leaves, cleared paths, tidied seasons. And now, it gets to hold something entirely new. Maybe you find one at a flea market, tangled in a corner, forgotten, with years of weather etched into its metal. Or maybe it's already in your shed, leaning somewhere behind the shovel that gets all the attention. Don't pass it by. Don't clean it too quickly. That rust? That's character. That's history in patina. All we do is remove the handle and mount the rake head, as it is, onto a garden fence or wooden wall. No sanding. No painting. No polish. Just honest presence. The curve of those iron tines becomes hooks, ready to cradle small garden tools, a straw hat, a hanging pot of lavender, or even a bunch of drying rosemary tied with twine. There's a strange beauty in how it holds these gentle things, not with newness or shine, but with steadiness. With familiarity. With the quiet pride of something that once labored for order and now simply supports life. It doesn't need paint. It only needs respect for what it's been through. Because the truth is, the past still has something to offer. It still has room to give. It still has hands, invisible, perhaps, reaching out to help hold the present, gently, like it always has. And now, every time you hang your gloves or pruning shears, you'll do it not on a brand new hook, but on something that's already spent a lifetime making things a little more beautiful. Idea 3, window frame trellis. Old windows don't close anymore. Their hinges are rusted, their glass long gone, and yet, somehow, they still open things. Not spaces. Not rooms. But feelings. Memories. Imagination. In the garden, a window like this doesn't need to close. It becomes something more, a frame that invites the outside in and lets beauty pass freely through. Maybe you spot one leaning behind a thrift store. Maybe you've had it stored in the garage, unsure of what to do with it, too fragile to throw away, too special to ignore. Take it out. Hold it up to the light. Notice the peeling paint, the gentle warping of the wood, the tiny nails that once held it all together. These aren't flaws, they're fingerprints of time. Set it gently into the garden. Nestle it upright among your plants or lean it against the fence as if it's always been there. A silent witness. A forgotten guest. And then, choose your climbing companion. Morning glories, sweet peas, clematis, anything soft, anything that knows how to reach. Over days, then weeks, they'll find their way through the panes. They'll wrap around the edges, peeking through the gaps like they're looking into another world. And maybe your frame is a little broken. Maybe the corners don't meet just right. Maybe the paint is flaking off like old wallpaper. That's okay. The vines don't care. They climb anyway. They hold onto what they can, even the rough spots, especially the rough spots. Because this isn't about creating structure. It's about inviting softness. Inviting growth. Inviting a different kind of beauty, the kind that doesn't need to be framed in perfection. It's okay to frame what we love, even if the glass is long gone. Chair idea 4, chair planter. There comes a time in every chair's life when it can no longer carry us. Its legs wobble. Its joints loosen. The seat gives way. And yet, its shape still remembers comfort. Still remembers holding us steady, keeping us gathered. When that time comes, maybe it's not the end. Maybe it's the beginning of something new. You might find one on the curb. Or tucked in the back of your shed, just waiting to be useful again. It doesn't need a makeover. It needs a new mission. Gently remove the worn seat. Or, if it's already gone, simply embrace the space that's been left behind. Line it with coconut coir or moss, something soft, something that breathes. Fill that cradle with rich, dark soil. And then, fill it with life. Trailing petunias, bold marigolds, tiny strawberries, anything that brings a bit of joy, a bit of color, a bit of story. Let the chair sit unevenly in the garden. Let it lean if it must. It's no longer required to stand tall. It simply needs to hold beauty, and it does that perfectly. Every crack in the wood, every worn-down spindle, every creak in the backrest tells you, this was once part of someone's everyday life. And now it gets to live again. Not as furniture, but as sculpture, as soul, as something gently reborn. Because even broken things can support beauty. Sometimes they support it better than anything brand new. Idea 5, Lantern Bird Feeder. Lanterns don't have to shine. Some simply nourish. Once, this little lantern might have hung by a front door, lighting late-night hellos or farewells. Its glass fogged, its frame rusted with years. Time may have stolen its glow, but not its grace. Now, in the quiet corner of your garden, it's ready for a different kind of light, the kind that flutters, sings, and returns again each morning. Take that old lantern, maybe it's dented, maybe the latch doesn't quite close, and gently open its little door. Remove the candle that no longer burns. In its place, line the bottom with a bit of moss, some twigs, or a pinch of straw. Then, fill it with birdseed. Nothing fancy, just enough to invite company. Hang it from a branch, a shepherd's hook, or an old porch beam where the birds can find it easily and the sun can still warm it. And that's all. No need for perfection. Just a cozy perch and a sprinkle of kindness. In time, they will come. A sparrow. A finch. Maybe even a blue jay if you're lucky. They'll gather at this quiet table you've set, this meal made not with recipes, but with care. And as you watch, remember, we don't always need to like the world. Sometimes, feeding it is enough. Idea 6, Boot Blooms. Worn-out boots remember every step. Now, they bloom where they once walked. Tucked in a closet, scuffed and sagging, they once marched through puddles, through markets, through morning walks and muddy afternoons. They were never glamorous, but they were faithful. And even now, with their soles cracked and laces tired, they still have something to give. Bring them out into the light. Shake out the dust. Smile at the creases. These are not flaws, they're footprints of a life once lived. You don't need to fix them. You only need to plant something soft inside. Take a sharp tool and gently poke a few holes in the bottoms for drainage. Fill them with potting soil, something airy, something forgiving. Then, choose your bloom. Marigolds work beautifully, bright and cheerful, like little suns rising from leather. Or perhaps succulents, stubborn, low maintenance, and quietly lovely. Set the boots down along a garden path, or near your front step where visitors might smile. Let the rain darken them. Let the flowers spill over. Let the boots slouch, as if relaxing after a long day. Because even when we're no longer walking, we can still be part of the path. We can still root something new. Still hold beauty. Still offer a place for life to grow. Idea 7, Frame the blooms. Some gardens are grown. Others are curated. There's something tender about standing in a space where every bloom feels intentional, not just planted, but placed. Where nature isn't told what to do, but quietly invited to participate in art. That's what happens when you bring empty picture frames into your garden. Thrift stores are full of them, once hung proudly in homes, now leaning in corners with broken backs and missing glass. But here, in your garden, they become gallery pieces. Not to display paintings, but to honor what's already blooming around you. Choose a few frames, mismatched, weathered, a little chipped around the edges. Don't match them. Let each one speak its own quiet language. Then, hang them gently along your fence or prop them up on old easels or posts right in the garden bed. Position them just so, at eye level or a little higher, and wait. Soon, tall cosmos and dahlias will rise behind them, blooming right through the center like they know they've been cast in a starring role. The wind might sway them. A bee might land on the edge. It all becomes part of the art. And here's the beauty, there's nothing to frame. And yet, everything is framed. You're not capturing these moments to keep them. You're celebrating them while they last. Because some flowers fade in a day. But for that one soft moment, they were on display, seen, cherished, held in time. So go ahead. Frame the moments before they pass. Not to capture, but to celebrate. Idea 8. Wicker basket wall planters. Wicker once carried groceries. Now, it carries color. Once, these baskets held apples from the market, folded linens, maybe even fresh bread wrapped in cotton cloth. Their handles worn smooth by errands and seasons. Their fibers frayed not from failure, but from service. And now, when the time of carrying has passed, they still hold. Take those old baskets, round ones, square ones, the ones with broken handles or sun-bleached sides, and gently fasten them to your fence, or even a blank wall that's longing for life. Don't worry if they're misshapen. That's what makes them lovely. Line them with something simple, a layer of plastic, or burlap if you prefer texture. Then, fill them with soil. Not too much. Just enough to cradle green. Plant something that spills, sweet potato vine, ivy, nasturtiums. Let it tumble. Let it overflow. And as the days pass, you will watch these tired baskets do what they've always done, hold beauty. Offer support. Make space. Even baskets grow tired. But never of giving. Idea 9. Vintage record garden spinners. Once, they played music. Now, they sing with the wind. There was a time when these vinyl records held love songs and lullabies, memories of first dances and quiet Sunday mornings. Their grooves, worn from replay. Their sleeves, tucked away long ago. Now, scratched and silent, they still want to spin. In your garden, they can. Choose a few, the ones too scratched to play, too fragile to part with. Look at their labels, faded names, vintage fonts, echoes of melodies once cherished. Then, with a steady hand, drill a small hole near the center. Not too fast. Let the vinyl guide you. Mount them on dowels, or salvaged rods, or gently spin them from branches. A touch of wire. A washer or two. And then, the wind does the rest. They twirl slowly at first, like they're remembering how. Then, when the breeze picks up, they dance. Quietly. Freely. Like a music box with no sound, but so much spirit. Let the breeze be the DJ. Let the garden set the rhythm. Some sounds never fade. They just change form. And some records? They're still playing. You just have to watch, not listen. Idea 10. Spoon garden markers. Silverware that no longer serves the table can still serve the soil. Once, these spoons were polished and set neatly beside napkins. They stirred soup, held sugar, and clinked against the sides of teacups in kitchens filled with conversation. They may no longer be part of dinners, but they can still be part of something meaningful. Take those old spoons, mismatched, tarnished, forgotten in drawers or thrift bins, and hold them in your hand. Feel the weight. Notice the details on the handle. The slight bend in the neck. The scratches that speak softly of use, not damage. Now, place them on a sturdy surface and gently tap them flat. A hammer will do, but a soft cloth beneath will keep the sound gentle. Once flat, paint or etch the name of a favorite herb, basil, thyme, sage, or maybe something playful like oregano, a little wild. Tuck the spoon into the soil, handle up like a flag of remembrance. Let it mark where flavor lives, where growth begins. Don't clean away the wear. Don't buff out the past. Let the scratches stay. They tell the story. Even small things deserve to leave their mark. These aren't rules. They're invitations. Each idea you've seen today is simply a whisper, a suggestion from one creative heart to another. Follow them if they fit. Change them if they don't. Ignore them if your soul is leading somewhere else. Because beauty doesn't come from instructions. It grows from what you feel when your hands begin to move. We didn't just decorate today. We remembered that beauty isn't bought, it's revealed. It's chipped. It's mismatched. It's real. And it lives wherever we give it space to grow. in old frames and teacups, in rusted rakes and baskets that once carried bread, and tiny silver spoons tucked beside thyme. These aren't just decorations. They are love made visible. Because when we garden like this, we're not just planting flowers. We're planting ourselves, our stories, our stillness, our joy, into the soil we call home. If any of these ideas reminded you of something, a memory, a moment, a piece of home, I'd love to hear it. Share your stories in the comments, because your words inspire this garden, too. And if this video felt like a warm cup of tea, like something familiar and slow and kind, you are so welcome here. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Not to keep up, but to keep close. Because here at Golden Seniors Living, we grow together.